I know, you wanted to
But
be,
they're like,
well, you wanted to be like this, yeah.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Nick, are you on? Can you hear?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank you.
most definitely.
Bill Grubb, has he been able to hook in? Bill Grubb. Okay.
Is he coming in?
No, he's gonna
He's
try to
out.
dial in.
Why not? Okay, I didn't know if he could because he was.
Yeah, he
actually
said he
traveling.
might not be able to.
Right. He needed a plane to land or something before he
Yeah.
could get home. If for some reason, I'm part of this too,
Sure.
so.
Okay, we're ready. Let me call to order the meeting of the Highlands Town Board of Commissioners for Thursday, July 16th, 2026. I would ask that you stand and join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Our next item on the agenda is a statement of the conflict of interest. If any commissioner has any conflict or perceived conflict of any business that we'll have before us tonight, of course, they should declare that. The next item will be number 4. That is the public comment. I'm going to open it up for public comment. If anybody'd like to make a public comment, they can come down to the table and state their name and their address. And I hope that everyone can keep their comments to 3 minutes or less.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Mhm.
My name is Kathy Henson. My local address is 27 Old Walhalla Road. I am the president of the Highlands Neighborhood Coalition. In last week's edition of the Highlander, the concluding paragraph of the editorial stated, quote, "Let's remember the ideals of engaged, informed, and passionate citizenship. Informed citizenship isn't just a privilege. It's essential for a thriving community and the preservation of the freedoms and future our founders envisioned," end quote. To that end, the Highlands Neighborhood Coalition is sponsoring a seminar on Friday, July 24th at 9:30 at the Rec Center entitled Local Government 101, How Government Works, with a specific focus on local government and its critical importance to the quality of life of its residents. This seminar is open to the public, and I wanted to personally invite the elected officials of the town of Highlands and any staff interested in the topic. The seminar will feature Mac McCarley, a retired partner at Parker Poe and a well-known legal expert on local government and public policy. Among his many legal clients, Mac served as the city attorney for the city of Charlotte for 17 years. In his semi-retirement, he currently serves as the town attorney for Southern Pines, North Carolina. With this seminar, we hope to engage and inform the Highlands community. As you pointed out in your blog this week, Mr. Mayor, in discussing traffic signs and signals, it is important to know which governmental entity or agency has the power to solve a problem and the process it uses to evaluate an appropriate solution. So, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Town Manager, I welcome you all and would love to see you there. Thank
Would you
you.
repeat that date and time?
Yes, it's next Friday, July 24th at 9:30 at the Rec Center. And there was an ad in today's paper, and we will run that again next week. And we will hand out flyers at the Mayor's Coffee tomorrow, which we are hosting.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment?
Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Bryson. My local address is 555 North Fifth Street, and I am the president of the Rotary Club of Highlands. And I came by tonight. I want to thank the town for your support of the Rotary Club's 4th of July activities. Highlands has such a unique and special 4th celebration, and in my opinion, it's the best place to be. First, I would like to thank Chief Holland and the Highlands Police Department for working with us to close a portion of Hickory Street adjacent to the ball field. This was the first time we've ever been able to do that, and it made for a much better and much safer event for everyone. I'd like to thank Lester and the staff at the rec park. They do such a great job. They're just the best. Great to work with, and the games and activities that they do on the 4th are so much fun, and working to coordinate Mama coming in, even though there was a call that delayed her just a little bit, but the work you guys do is absolutely fantastic. So thank you. I'd also like to thank Chief Gearhart and the Highlands Fire Department for their help. The drought made Mill Creek a little weak for racing this year, but the fire department was kind enough to come and provide us with a little bit of water that raised the rapids a little bit and made for a great race for everyone. And last, I'd like to thank the commissioners for working with us, issuing us the permit to close that portion of Hickory Street, and for your support of our activities over the year. Just a quick recap. We started the day shooting off 300 water rockets that would make SpaceX jealous. We served 1,500 hot dogs in 45 minutes. And we finished our activities with racing 1,776 ducks down Mill Creek. And so from all of us at the Rotary Club of Highlands, I would just like to say thank you.
Appreciate it. And Josh, the 4th of July brings out the best in this community. On behalf of the board, we appreciate everything the Rotary Club does, all of our government departments that work, the Chamber of Commerce for their support and funding of the fireworks. It was just a really special 250th anniversary. So
Absolutely.
thank everyone.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Do we have any other comment?
One more comment.
Have a little handout.
Just give them to them. We'll pass them down.
Say, do you have
There's extra, I think, in one for Mr. Cole. It's right there.
And Mr. Dimick.
My name is Mary Ellen Stack. I live in Glenville. And we do not
Would you
have,
mind giving us your address?
our address is 2408 Pilot Knob Road, Glenville. I'm a year-round resident. And I'm here, as George Bush mentioned in the inaugural address in 2001, he said, be a citizen, not a spectator. I'm actually here to speak to you all, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, and the commissioners. My husband and I have been to this area, living in this area for the last, since 2014. And we have come up here since the 1980s. So we're quite familiar with the area. We live here year round. My background is in the medical field, and I have 50 years of experience as an RN, certified emergency department nurse. I'm here to talk about last month's meeting regarding the Reclaim Health initiative that they have. I'm not a member of Reclaim Health. I'm just a concerned citizen because this affects all of us. My neighbors in Sapphire and in Glenville and in Cashers, we don't have a government, so we can't go to our board and talk to people regarding this. So I'm coming to all of you. You are my neighbors. In this rural setting, we have no alternative for medical facilities that provide trauma care, emergent medical care requiring advanced surgical care, advanced cardiac care, and advanced pulmonary care. These specialized services are exclusively available at the Big Mission Hospital in Asheville. I think Tom up here has done a great job with Mission, our little Mission. I've been a patient there. My husband's been a patient there. But if there is anything that is really important and that needs large, important surgical interventions such as cancer care, and pulmonary care and critical other care, that is only available at Mission Health in Asheville. I'm going to quickly go through the 13 points of the discussion. I picked out just as the second page. The HCA Mission Hub's HCA system hub and spoke analogy encompasses an area of 900,000 acres, surpassing the size of Connecticut. In this region, there is no other university system capable of providing advanced surgical care, advanced cardiac care, advanced pulmonary care. Consequently, we are compelled to consider options similar to those in Atlanta, such as Emory, in Northeast Raleigh, Durham, such as Duke, and the other medical facilities there, or Vanderbilt in Tennessee. That is number 2 of the points of discussion. On the back side of your packet are the resolutions that I received from Reclaim Health. Number 3, I only picked out certain ones that I feel are applicable here. Number 3, the loss of highly skilled and experienced physicians and specialists has resulted in the departure of over 300 individuals from the HCA Mission medical team since 2019. Number 4, the nursing profession has experienced a significant loss of highly experienced staff, including individuals with advanced degrees such as a BSN, an MSN, and a PhD in nursing. Many of these professionals hold national certifications in their clinical specialties, as I did. I had a certification in emergency nursing. As this certification signifies exceptional expertise in emergency nursing or in other means such as critical care, pediatrics, and for together like that. In contrast, the entry level of registered nursing programs was previously a 3-year diploma from a hospital nursing program. However, the programs were discontinued in 1985. And there was a 1985 resolution. I'm just giving you a little quick history about nursing. So we have 2 modes of RN nursing now. We have the associate degree and we have the BSN program. So you can read the rest of that.
Thank you,
I'm going to
yes.
skip through that.
Okay.
I also gave you a historical impact on nursing. This number 5, number 6, and number 7 of the resolution. Immediate jeopardies, the most severe and rare sanctions a hospital entity can receive. I know you all are aware of the violations, and an interesting fact, many hospitals have never received even one. Only 2.4% of all hospital citations result in immediate jeopardy. That's not very many. Mission has had at least 4 since 2019. Mission, Big Mission, and some of the 5 other small hospitals in the Mission system. Number 11 and 13, my ask for Mr. Hassan would it be possible for an in-person 45 to 60-minute conversation to explore the future plans for the HCA Asheville Mission service area? I want to know. I want to know, number 1, I have an inquiry about the university level medical care at Big Mission. Even though it's not a university, that hospital's 800 beds and it could be a university type situation. advanced cardiac care, advanced pulmonary care, including a PERT team, P-E-R-T. That is a pulmonary emergency response team.
Okay, excuse me. Is all this in this package?
Well,
Okay,
I'm
'cause
almost,
we're
this
about
is
to, we're about to,
my conclusion.
your time's
The nearest
expired.
PERT is at Emory University, 3 hours away. I'm just asking Mr. Hassan to bring us into the 21st century of medicine to Big Mission in Asheville. I've given you some other historical information on the
Okay.
back sides here. And I have, as I said, 50 years of nursing, clinical nursing in ICU, ER, labor and delivery. And I've also worked for 3 big medical companies, Baxter Infusion, Caremark, and Becton Dickinson, and Smith Medical, doing medical training throughout the United States. I retired about 5 years ago.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Hearing none, we will now move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is to review and approve the agenda. Do we have any changes or proposed items to be added? I do have one. I would like for us to have just an initial discussion about data centers. I know that's a big topic. The county's been reviewing that. The town of Franklin has been reviewing that. So I'd like to add that to our agenda tonight.
Item 13.
It'll be item 13 or, yeah, 14. It'll be item 14. All right. Any other additions?
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
Okay.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please signify by raise your hand, saying aye. Thank you. All right, our next item would be the approval of the June 18th regular meeting minutes. Do we have any changes, clarifications, corrections?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then we have the approval of the June 30th special meeting minutes. Do we have any changes, clarifications, or corrections?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, all in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye. Thank you.
Aye.
We have our minutes approved. The next item would be the report, starting with the mayor. I will be, as pointed out in public comment, holding the community coffee tomorrow at 11 o'clock at the library. And I would also say that Gerard Brewer, our new Public Works Director, will be there to share some ideas and insights about public works. And also Representative Carl Gillespie will be in town at a meeting prior to the coffee, and he's agreed to come by and just say a few words about what's happening in the legislature. So he'll be there also. One other thing I wanted to bring up, and it is about road signs. We had a situation several weeks ago where it seems like someone took it upon themselves to add a sign to a critical intersection here, giving out directions on how one should negotiate that intersection. That is not allowed by an individual citizen. I've written in my article today, and I want to emphasize that only authorized DOT or Town of Highlands Road Department, if it's on a town road, will put up road signs and can put up road signs. So I'm glad that we caught that, and I'm glad that that was resolved in a safe manner. That's all of the things I have, except for one thing. I have a unique opportunity to take a family vacation in Maine in August, unfortunately, and it's a window of opportunity. I will not be here at the August meeting. I've already talked with some of the board members, and the Mayor Pro Tem, Jim Tate, I'm sure would be absolutely, totally competent and perfect to lead the board in a meeting in August. So I just wanted to let everybody know I will not be here in August, and Jim will fill in as the mayor pro tem. Okay, that's my report. I will now turn it over to the commissioners for any updates or reports. Nothing. Then I will then turn it over to our town manager, Josh Ward, for his update.
Well, I would like to report to the board that we're going to lose two key members of the town staff in the near future. Rebecca Schuler has accepted a position with the town of Maggie Valley, and next Wednesday will be her final day. So we have the finance director position posted, and we'll be taking applications for that. Also, Matt Schuler is going to retire with 30 years of service the 1st of September. So the IT director job will also be posted here in the near future to find his replacement.
Okay. That both comes as kind of a surprise to us, and we wish both Rebecca and Matt well as they go into new adventures in their careers and everything. So, and I know that our staff will fill in while we're doing the search, and we will look for, filling those positions as soon as possible. Anything else, Josh? That's it? Okay. The next item is the consent agenda. Do we have any questions concerning what was in the consent agenda package?
I move be approved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please raise your hand, signify by saying aye. Thank
Aye.
you. Item number 9, Mirror Lake Dredging Engineering. We have been going through a series of meetings in our public sessions with Mike Hanson, and now we also have Joel Starrow with us tonight from McGill and Associates, and they are bringing in a report kind of refining and clarifying some of the issues that were brought up at the last meeting. So I'll now turn it over to Joel and Mike.
Thanks, Mayor Board. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit shorter presentation this time. We've only got 4 slides, so Mike and I are going to tag team that. We're going to talk about the disposal site options that have been identified and their respective costs. We're going to talk about our engineering fees and how we got a little ahead of the scoping of the original contract. And thirdly, we're going to talk about outcomes in terms of the amount of sediment that we project can be removed from Mirror Lake based on the options we've identified. And then finally, we're going to go over next steps going forward from here. But before I do that, I just wanted to say I appreciate the board's confidence in us. I've been working up here in Highlands with McGill for going on 30 years. And I remember back in the day, that was Richard Betts's time here. And then I remember Buck Trott, the mayor back then, had called me up and we met at Mirror Lake. He says, how can we get this sediment out of this lake? You know, because it's been building up over time, and it's been a problem for a good long while, as you all know. And what it boils down to really is you got to have a place to take the sediment. And in these mountain conditions like we have, it's very, very difficult to keep that affordable because of the haul distances and so forth. We did a project in Asheville for the Beaver Lake Homeowners Association years ago, 10 or 12 years ago. And if you've been up to Beaver Lake, they've got those areas right beside the lake. And so it was easy to just take the sediment out and put it on the ground there, and actually grew wildflowers on there. But up here, it's a heck of a lot more challenging. So anyway, going forward, next slide. So this is a cost comparison of the two disposal sites that we've identified. Mike's gone over this a little bit at previous presentations, but the cost that we see for the Highlands Transfer Station and the new alternative site that we've identified, Roger Lee Wilson owns, you see that in the 2 columns there. That first task is the design and permitting that will remain to get this project going and get permits from the state and the Corps for dredging the lake to begin with. On the left-hand side, as you go down, as we identified the Highlands Transfer Station, that's a closed landfill. And so it's very complex to open a landfill, and we would have to do that in order to dispose of the material there. In addition, building a new haul road in there, the negotiation with the county that you all are aware of, some of the nuances there. But that additional landfill engineering to get to a point where we could use that site is the second number there. And then the construction of all those improvements that are required is the third number. And they start adding up, and you can see down at the bottom, it's a $1.7 million investment to use that site. Fortunately, we've identified Roger Lee Wilson's property. Initially, he was not willing to allow us to use that, or allow the town to use that site, but he's changed his mind, and Mike's been in touch with him about the specifics of that. As you can see on the right-hand side, that's a lot less expensive, about $1 million less, because we don't have any of the engineering and the construction with his site. All we got to do is take the material out of the lake and haul it to his site. And it's off of Wilson Gap Road down there. So the difference between those two are pretty significant. So we're certainly in favor of the of Wilson site going forward here. Next slide.
Can I ask
Sure.
a clarification issue that we have? And I think it was a breakdown in communication on your part and our part as we were doing this. We saw the opportunity to do the interlocal agreement,
Mhm.
and you guys had to do all of that engineering work with the site design and so forth. That's a cost that if we'd have known in advance, we wouldn't have had to have, encumbered, but we thought we were headed toward using the landfill. And that was about, and I'm trying to go back, it was about $150,000 to get to that point with the interlocal agreement.
Exactly. And that's on this next slide, the
And that's
150,000.
kind of the confusion of added cost. The benefit of this new site is, while we did spend that money, if we can use that new site, the savings, and especially if we don't have to develop the rest
Correct.
of the landfill, will far outweigh the idea of continuing with the landfill, and we go to a cheaper
That's exactly right.
disposal area.
That's right. I mean, $150,000 sounds like a lot of money for sure, but it's small compared to the actual costs you would have to pay to actually implement that option.
And I recall, even with that cost of doing the interlocal agreement at the landfill, the hauling distance was so short compared to having to take it 20 miles or 25, which could have been the other alternative, that even that was a cost savings.
Absolutely. I
of the
mean, we
goal.
looked at, Franklin landfill is an active landfill. There's no permitting or anything to do there, but the haul distance is very expensive.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I know
Jeff,
we
you have-
got a little bit ahead of ourselves on the scoping. That $150,000 was not in the original scope of work, and it couldn't be because we didn't really have an option, location identified to take it. And once that Highlands landfill became apparent, we started working on that, and that came out of that $490,500. That's the actual contract that we have, currently. So the $150,000, we'll still need to spend that to finalize all the design for the dredging project itself.
Okay, so I just wanted to understand that. So the 490,500 is the one that we had approved a long time ago,
Right.
but we have already spent in time 150 towards the alternate site.
That's right.
And the reason it
Well, not
shows
the
up in,
alternate site, the
well, I
transfer
mean, the
site.
original site.
Yeah, the
So,
original
but the
site.
alternate site, the reason it shows up under that line item is because it's already been done.
Correct.
There's not any additional, other than a couple little things here and there, I'm sure. There's no additional work and assessment to be done for the new alternate site.
No, it's actually the same scope of work for either site, because it's the permitting for the actual dredging mechanics, getting it out of the lake, no matter where we take it.
That's the
That's a
big
scope for the
point
first line.
of cost now.
Right.
Yep.
So anyway, and then down below there, we don't have a contract for what we know we'll need to have for the construction administration. And that's once we get into construction, identify a contractor and everything, make sure that he's, removing the sediment appropriately and measuring haul tickets and that kind of thing, as we get to that phase of the project. So the total fee, our fees for this project with the additional $150,000 added back into there would be $976,500. And I know that sounds like a lot of money, but it, you know, in identifying the Wilson site is actually going to, you know, work in the town's favor because we're going to be able to maximize the amount of material, you know, that can be dredged from the lake. So, question?
Is on the previous slide, is the 600,000 for the alternate site or the Roger Lee site? Does that include transportation?
No, that's just the fee that that the
So-
town would have to pay Wilson to
So we
to
still have a
dispose it there.
transportation fee. That would be a bid.
That's part of the dredging itself.
That's part of the dredging itself.
So that's part of that bid dread contract. Okay.
So any more questions on that particular slide?
And we're talking about how many loads again? Is what, based on that estimate?
Right now, obviously, because we're still trying to decide between the two sites for disposal, and the amount of dredge material is dependent on which site we choose. The final number of loads is going to vary, but right now we're estimating between 4,000 and 5,000 truckloads of material.
Right.
So it'll be a significant amount of material over a lengthy period of time, that needs to be moved to either location. And the haul distance for these two sites, I mean, literally next door to each other. So the haul distance is virtually the same, whichever site we go to. So there's really no difference there. It's really a matter of how much money you have to invest in the landfill beyond what's already been done to determine how to make the landfill a viable disposal site. How much additional engineering, permitting, and contractor costs there is to actually implement disposal at that site versus the cost of paying at Roger Lee Wilson's site for disposal, but you're not paying any of those additional costs that you're associated with the transfer step. So that's really the difference there and the reason for the primary savings. I also might add that right now we've got a $600,000 cost in there for what we're estimating to be the fee to the town for disposing of the material at the Wilson site. That is based on historical value of what he has charged per truck in the past. At the last meeting, I did mention that he had already indicated in the preliminary discussions that I've had with him that he would be open to negotiating a different fee for the town, knowing the position that the town is in financially trying to get this work done. And that is something that's still yet to be done. I think at the last meeting, there was a suggestion that one of the commissioners might take on the responsibility of doing that negotiation.
We're going to resolve that.
So right now, I believe that 600,000 is a conservative number. It could certainly be less. And if it is less, then that ends up further benefiting the difference between the two projects and the overall volume of sediment that can be removed.
Or to put it another way, the 4,000 to 5,000 loads, depends on when the money runs out.
Yes.
And that's the next slide. Mike's going to talk about that. This is how we project both sides, how much material might be moved.
Correct.
Okay.
The bar graph. Next slide.
Do we have that up yet?
Next slide.
Okay, so for this slide, I guess getting back into more of the engineering side of our presentation tonight, we wanted to try and provide some guidance on what are the trade-offs. And we've been bouncing around a lot of different numbers, and it is a fairly complex discussion on how we're arriving at these numbers because there's a number of different things that are variables in each decision that's being made as we move forward. So to try and boil it down, the total volume of sediment that we estimate that could be removed from the lake, if we removed every ounce of sediment and went back to the original hard bottom that was there at the time it was constructed, 119,300 yards. Option 2A, which is this board decided back in April of last year, was the option that we wanted to move forward with as far as design and permitting for the site. At that time was estimated at 80,000 yards of total removal. And if we end up going to and that is for the alternate site. If we went with the original plan that was decided on
as we move through this last year's worth of process for evaluating the transfer station, the difference, it would drop down to 61,000 yards. So there's nearly a 20,000 yard difference between the two sites as far as the available amount of material that can be removed and disposed of out of the lake, depending on which alternate you go with. And that's all routing back to calculating in the amount of money that's available, considering all the different factors we've talked about in the last two slides. As those two, as all the variables that go into making up those numbers, engineering cost, construction cost, contractor fees, et cetera, all of that comes into play. Though that's kind of where we land. And I will have to say, these are approximations. Where we end up when we're finally done with all this is going to be somewhere probably close to one of these numbers. But I wanted to try and bring it down to at least a comparison to relative, utilizing all the data we currently have and estimates that we've made consistently with the numbers. We believe that there's about a 20,000 cubic yard difference.
So what you're saying in that slide is 120,000 cubic yards total. That's if you had unlimited funds, you'd go just full speed ahead and
Correct.
take everything
Mhm.
out.
Yes.
But taking into account the savings of $1 million roughly, we can get 20,000 cubic yards potentially
Right.
additional by
Yep.
going to the alternate disposal
Yeah, and
site.
that also assumes that the $150 a load stays the same.
Right.
If we drop that 80,000 yards could go higher.
Right. Well, that's,
Yeah.
there,
Yep.
there you go. Okay. Just making sure I understood that.
That's important information to know.
Yep.
We thought this might be a good slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
All right. So then, trying to, I guess, wrap things up, we could go to the last slide. This is something that the mayor and the town manager, asked me to try and provide as guidance as we move forward in, all of the future meetings that we have. What are the decision points that are left? What are the things that, need to be done by this board, in order to get us to an endpoint on the job? So the disposal site selection is the next key decision point that needs to be made. I will pause there and say that while we have been diligently talking with Mr. Wilson since the last meeting that we had, I've had several conversations with him and I've been back out to his site again. We have yet to be able to get the documentation that's been requested by the mayor and the manager showing that his site is indeed a permitted site, either by federal or by state agencies. So he is still actively contacting the people that he needs to speak with in order to pursue that. And I spoke with him as late as Tuesday of this week. And he said that he is diligently trying to get the information. He's still seemingly engaged in moving forward with this alternative. But he doesn't have it in his hands as of this time.
So in reality, tonight, what we can say is our preference is this, pending that information
Verification.
Yes, sir.
and a negotiation on the final cost.
Correct.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Right.
And then as we move forward from there, authorization for completion of design and permitting, as Joel mentioned earlier, maintaining the interlocal agreement or negotiating private terms, as you just mentioned. Which one of those, which decision you make in item one, obviously then lays out which decision needs to be followed through with item three. Then we move into phase two, contractor selection, and that will be after we've gone through the completion of design and we've submitted and received permits for moving through with phase two. And then determining the timing of phase three bid, knowing that right now phase three is likely going to be a longer permitting process. We'll likely get permits in hand sometime during the time that we're actually underway with phase two. And that will then come back to the board to determine, do we want to proceed with bidding of phase three immediately, or we want to hold off until we're done with phase two and then proceed with phase three. So that's kind of the pathways that are left to navigate as we move forward from here.
Let me ask you this question. And what I hear you saying is that even if we said, okay, we want to do phase 2 and 3, do it all at the same time and everything, what you're saying is that the permitting process is structured as such, the timing, that really can't happen. Or it could, but it'd be a delayed process.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So if if the board chose to move forward with trying to implement phase 2 and phase 3 at the same time under one contract, and there would be certainly some advantage to doing that from a contractor selection standpoint. The necessity would be that you have to delay phase 2 until we had phase 3 permits in hand so that they could go out together. Because while we can bid the project during the permitting process, we can't provide you direction, and the town can't move forward with authorizing the actual start of construction until the permits are in hand. So I guess looking at where we were in prior communication that we had had from the manager and the board, we were trying to find the quickest pathway for us to move forward with some portion of construction. And that meant separating phase 2 and phase 3 so that we can move forward with phase 2 first. That's going to be the easier pathway. And through our recent discussions again with the agencies, it seems like that's proving out to be the same. We're expecting phase 2 is going to end up being done through a nationwide permit, which is a shorter process. Phase 3 will likely end up having to go through an individual permit. And it's a longer process simply because of the requirements that the agencies have when they go into an individual permit. They've got notifications, they've got to wait for public comment, a number of other things that require more time on their part before they can issue that permit.
Okay. Let's just think out loud now. Seems to me, item 2, authorize completion of design and permitting. We don't want to delay that. This has been going longer than I've anticipated. So I think that's something we could resolve tonight. The other one would be, because we don't have the verification of the permitting of the alternative site, we still could say that that's where we want you to go with trying to, get all the documents and setting that up. And we would do a final approval based on the verification of the permitting of that site.
And yes, certainly that's a viable option. I think that there could be some time gained by moving forward with the completion of design while we're working through the
Absolutely.
logistics of the final disposal site, because they have limited impact on the design side.
Yeah.
As we get to the point where we're ready to submit permits, we've got to commit to a design site at that point. And that would be where we'd end up needing to hit a pause if we need to, if we don't have it resolved by that point. But that gives us, maybe another month or 2 of progress while we're trying to get to the conclusion of a selected site.
Okay. So,
What's-
go ahead. Go ahead, Amy.
What's the difference in the timeline of the national permits and the specific permits of phase 3? I mean, is it going to be a significant time saving, or,
I can tell you based on my experience with other projects, it is variable. Each permit situation turns out to be unique to itself, but in general terms, we're expecting that we'll end up looking at about a 3-month turnaround for the nationwide permit from the time that we submit to the time that we expect it may be issued. That could vary by 30 days, 45 days, either direction, but typically it's about a 3-month process. The individual permit usually is no less than about a 6-month process. So you can see the difference there is at least double the time based on prior experience.
and I don't think you'll have that much savings in a contract, whether you
Well, you're
do
also
them
talking-
both at the same time. or
We're
not.
also talking about different equipment, different
Right.
methodologies.
Right.
That's true. And so I think we've talked about in that in prior presentations, the nationwide permit, the reason it can be moved forward under a nationwide is that we're expecting that that's going to be primarily hydraulic dredge. It's not to say that there aren't contractors out there that do both. Certainly the contractor of the size and ilk that did the phase 1 project, they do both operations. They have equipment to do both. So you could end up with still getting one contractor that could exercise what's needed in both areas and have appropriate equipment and personnel to do that. However, by splitting it up, you end up putting, I guess, more emphasis on trying to get something underway and something moving forward, and less emphasis on the potential savings of possibly getting one contractor that does both. You may still end up with two contractors, depending on how the board decides that they want to actually package the bid. If we bid it as one project, we're going to be limited on the number of contractors that are going to bid the project, because we're telling them they have to have the capacity to do both types of operation. If we split it up and we bid it as two separate contracts, I think we may end up getting more interest in each project, because it will be open to contractors that only do hydraulic dredging, say for instance, for phase two. And they won't have to seek out a team member to try and do something else that they don't have the capacity to do, or choose not to bid because they can't do both.
Any questions?
No, it's pretty.
So do you need a motion right now to do?
I think we need a
Or just
motion
a
to,
consensus that
Or a
the
consensus at
alternatives,
least.
to pursue the alternative disposal side?
correct.
Yeah. And
And
authorize
go ahead and authorize design and
number
permitting?
two.
That's
Yeah.
right. Mhm. I think we're really talking about two motions or a consensus and one motion. The motion would be to,
The motion
direct
is for the
McGill
design
to
and
proceed with the
completion
design.
and
Yeah,
permitting, because
Yeah.
that's a contract with them.
that's right. And that's a formal, pretty rock solid, unless,
Right.
And
Give them
we're
authority to do
already
it.
engaged with the Wilson Discovery, right?
yeah.
You all already authorized that.
Right. So would you like to make a motion about the design?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that are we engaging in a new contract with
Well, they'll
McGill?
need to
No.
bring that.
It's, I assume
they'll
this
need
is
to
just an
bring that
addenda to your
contract.
contract.
Yeah.
It'd be an adjustment of our task order.
Okay,
Yeah.
for the project.
for the design and permitting of the Mirror Lake dredging for, I'm going to say for both phases.
Okay.
I
Any
second that.
questions? You got a second? Any further? All in favor? Indicate by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now,
So then, but you included disposal site as part of that, but it's still going to be pending the items.
Right.
that's right. I would just say
right.
as a consensus,
Yeah.
we're saying that we want to
We prefer the
prefer,
second.
We prefer to put more money in dredging than in
Yeah,
disposal.
exactly.
and then I would also propose, because I've talked with Commissioner Tate and Weller, that they be our kind of work group to work with Mr. Wilson
Not on the documentation, but from the fee structure.
on the fee structure. Yes. And y'all
Yeah, we'll
continue
handle
with the
the permitting
documentation.
or the
Yes.
regulatory side of it.
Okay, are we in agreement with that?
Yep.
That's the way we will proceed. Okay.
And-
And-
And lastly, we'll pledge to be a little bit more transparent on the communication and keep you
Okay,
guys informed, because I think we got a little over our skis on that.
okay.
So-
Thank you, Joel.
Yep.
Okay, Nick, do you have any comments?
Just wanted to make sure I'm clear that the motion and the consensus is to bring back an addendum to the contract that we will review first before.
Yes.
Yes, and
Okay.
once we get the information about the permitting and the cost of the alternative site, then we'll make a formal motion to accept that and enter a contract with the owner of the disposal site. Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Very good. Thank y'all
Thank
so
y'all.
much. Appreciate it. All right, our next item will be, it will be the Clay and Macon County Hazard Mitigation Plan
We
of
got one more.
Approved. Oh, I'm
Before
sorry.
that,
Hold it, hold it.
Sorry.
Did I get ahead of you?
Yeah,
Sorry, Tina.
Unless there's
I thought I was making a mistake.
Tina, it's a 400-page document if you want to run through it real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy it.
It's a 447 page
Yeah.
document that I've read and taken copious notes. No.
Good.
But Michael Mathis.
Thank you, Mayor. So Mayor Taylor and the Town Board of Commissioners, I present to you the 2026 Clay and Macon Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan for your consideration. The current hazard mitigation plan for this region expired on July 15th, 2026. So on February 10th, 2026, community leaders and staff from both counties, along with all municipalities in the region, gathered to discuss hazard identification and risk assessment and its vital role in mitigation planning. HIRA is essential for meeting state and federal compliance requirements and serves as the foundation for effective hazard mitigation plans. By understanding various hazards, communities can secure funding from programs such as the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Nathan Slaughter, the project manager with ESP Associates, provided an overview of the FEMA compliant planning process. He emphasized that hazard mitigation planning aims to identify hazards, assess risk, and develop strategies to reduce long-term vulnerabilities. The HIRA forms the basis of mitigation strategy and focuses on evaluating both natural and technological hazards based on their frequency, severity, and exposure. Currently, North Carolina Emergency Management has completed its review of the plan and submitted it to FEMA for final compliance review. The plan will remain in draft format until all participating jurisdictions have had the opportunity to review and provide feedback, and until all adoptions are finalized and FEMA approval letters are issued to all adopting jurisdictions. Both counties and all municipalities in the regions must adopt the hazard mitigation plan through a resolution. According to Mr. Slaughter, the North Carolina Emergency Management has indicated that we are good to move forward with adopting the plan. Just so we're clear, FEMA has not adopted the plan yet. I called Nathan last week, and he said that's most likely because when the government was shut down, they're backlogged at the moment. He does feel that, and him and the North Carolina Emergency Management both feel that FEMA will approve this plan. So we can go ahead and pass by resolution once all, like I said, once all the participating jurisdictions pass it, FEMA approves it, then they'll adopt this plan. So if
Okay.
you have any questions.
And Michael, this is a recurring review and approval process. I remember we've done this before.
Yeah.
We're required to do this every so many years to update this plan, right?
Yeah, and I can't even remember. Do you remember when the last one was approved, Josh?
I cannot.
I don't
Okay.
remember the date on the last one, but like I
Yeah.
said, it has expired. So if something does, if FEMA finds something in the plan that would change it drastically, they would redo or fix the plan. It would come back and we would just approve another
Adopt a new
resolution
resolution.
for it. So.
Okay.
Okay.
So the recommendations for the board to adopt the 2026 Clay Macon Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan by resolution.
Okay. I make a motion to approve a resolution to adopt the Clay Macon Regional Hazard Mitigation Resolution. Second.
Get a resolution in there enough times.
Yeah, okay, I read it. It's perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
Eric has a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Now, item 11, Tina Rogers, Highlands Jamboree Street Closure Amendment Request.
Hello.
Mhm.
So when I came here back in the winter and was talking to you guys about our concert series, I had mentioned that we had invited the Navy Band to come for the 4th of July, and they wrote us and said they can't. And then about later, they said, but we can and would love to come back for your jamboree. So they're coming September 26th again. Super excited about that, but that requires us to we need extra time to get them in because we're starting early that night because the daylight gets, dark earlier.
Mhm.
So we're starting at 5 instead of 6. And so we need to have that street closed all day. We realize that there's a market and we would let the vendors in for the market, but no one else could park there. So when the vendors are finished with the market, then that street's open because we would really like to start at 1:00 that day because we're going to start out with bagpipers. And then at 1:30 is the Navy Band, and we're just going to keep rolling. So we would love to also ask if the market could be closed at 12 instead of 12:30 that day to get them out and get everything started for that event. And this just, happened because the Navy Band had fun and they wanted to come back. So we want to have them back. So that's my request.
Okay.
I don't see any problem with it.
I don't know, Lester, no issues?
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question, please? In the
Sure.
application, I saw that it was left blank whether or not there was going to be there wasn't a yes or no marked for whether or not any tents or canopies would be used for the special event. Can we get an indication on that?
Any, what, I'm sorry.
If you could put out any tents or canopies for this event.
We're going to be doing 2 of our tents that we are 10 by 10 or 8 by 10s or whatever, 10 by 10, whatever the size they are. Because we're going to be doing a moonshine tasting and also have barbecue for everyone to have. So those 2 tents will be up with tables.
Okay,
Those will just need to comply with the tent policy in
Yeah.
there.
okay. Any other questions of Tina? I'll entertain a motion then.
So move.
All right,
That
To
we allow
approve the
them to
street
close
closure.
it all day,
Thank
basically.
you.
okay.
Second.
And get the farmer's market out half an hour early.
Please,
Mhm.
yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
And we have a second from Commissioner Weller. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
Mhm. All right, our next item will be the Highlands Playground Contract Amendment, Brian Steeler. And I don't see Brian here, and Commissioner Weller, who has been actively involved in this project, has volunteered to fill in for Brian.
So as I got through page 578, it just crashed on me here. So
Yeah.
I'll go from memory. Basically, what the request is for we'll call it an amendment to the funding, primarily because when we first started this project, we were raising 1.6 million. We got to that point, we initiated it, we got into construction. And then since then, we have received more money. So we want to add back the elements that got deleted because we went over budget. So essentially, we're not adding anything new from the original picture. We're just going to get pretty much what we were wanting in the beginning.
So we're adding stuff.
Correct. We're adding
Right.
stuff and equipment that we had to delete because of cost. We started this project, we had a $1.6 million budget, 3.5 years ago? So obviously, costs tend to go up a little bit. And we thought we took that into account, but took a little longer. And I just want to confirm, Josh, can you confirm then that our budget for what we are going to be, we're still going to be within the funds that have been donated and or given by the town and county?
Yes.
Correct. So we're asking for approval of the resolution.
We'll go ahead and make the motion.
I would love to do it if I could actually pull up that page and remember the exact amount, 80 something. So
It's 80.
you can feel free to go ahead.
Yes.
Oh, you want the actual number?
81,659,17.
There you go.
81.
Is that a
Okay.
motion?
And just to be clear, the motion is to approve the addendum amendment to the contract, it's not a resolution or anything.
Correct. Yep. Addenda.
So who's making the motion? Will you make it
I'll make it, accept the addendum to the contract
for the cost of?
for the cost of the addition, the items of the 81,659,17.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
I'll second that one.
You second it. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. We've got the playground underway. Then the next item, number 13, the Highway 64 Force Main Change Order and Budget Amendment, Gerard Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. We are making good progress on the Highway 64 Force Main. Almost finished Oak Lane. Should be finished with, anticipated to finish the Highway 64 portion, middle of next week is anticipated. So assuming weather cooperates. Run into a few unknowns. I think we kind of knew, I wasn't here when it started, but I think when this project started, we knew there'd be a lot of unknowns that we might discover as the project went forward. And we found a few little things here and there that were truly undiscoverable on the front end. The total of those is 3 different small work items, a total of $26,000. Based on review of the original budgeted amount, I think even with this change order, we'll still be under the budgeted amount by about 30,000 or more. So we should be covered with the original budgeted amount, even after approving this change order, assuming that you guys choose to do that.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the change order in the amount of $26,000.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gerard.
Yes, sir.
All right, our next item that was added, and that is a discussion of data centers. And let me just open that up and then I'll ask for direction from the board. I received a call from a trout fishing guide that I use very often here in Macon County in Western Carolina. And he was upset that the mayor of Highlands and we were not concerned about making sure that we have, provisions in our zoning to prevent the proliferation of large data centers. That is a topic throughout Western Carolina right now in all the counties and the municipalities. Town of Franklin just recently put a moratorium on the creation of data centers within the town of Franklin, where the mayor had actually identified several sites that could become a data center venue. They have a moratorium because they wanted time to look at their ordinances to make sure that whatever they did would be legal and in compliance with 160D and so forth. I know the county at their meeting this past Tuesday also is looking at the issue in relation to their high impact areas. Now, with that said, my first reaction to this would be, we have expensive land in Highlands. We have small areas. There could be no way a data center could come here. But never say never. To be quite frank, we're kind of caught flat-footed in some of our language and our ordinance when it came to STRs. And I would like for us to review this in the context of our ordinance, maybe asked our town attorney to look at what we have now, and is there something we need to do to ensure that a data center, whether it be mini or large scale, would be under control if such a thing were to happen here, where it would be a high demand on power, and we've just upgraded our power grid, demand possibly on water and so forth. So that's my concern, and I'll open it up now for the board to give their views on this.
Well, this is not a subject for the county or the state. It's for the nation, basically. It's everywhere. I think that Highlands has the advantage because we already do have actual zoning ordinances. The other advantages we have is we have the utility that they would have to go through unless they get it from Haywood. And that would be the only thing that I would say we need to actually look at. We have that small area of town that is provided by Haywood Electric, the electric. Otherwise, anything rates and all the rest of that stuff is controlled by us, by the town. And so that would be a negotiation that they probably don't want to get into, because we wouldn't let them raise everybody's rate just for their convenience. But I do think it's worthwhile to look at and make sure we close any loopholes that there may be. I think the biggest thing we need to do is urge the county to make sure that they have it, not just the high impact, because the high impact allows you to regulate it. It does not allow you to tell you where it is going to be or negotiate in any way with power or grid upgrades or water or anything else. That's all controlled by the Utilities Commission or the state. And so the county doesn't have any teeth to be able to do that, and definitely not anything except hours of operation and noise on a high impact ordinance, which basically it's not going to be actually defendable. And so Highlands, I think, is in a good position. But I do think it behooves us to make sure of that. But I think we really need to make sure the county knows that they need to actually do something, because we could have one right outside town
Right.
Not very likely, but
Because of power
still,
needs, but yeah.
with everybody else shutting them down and putting it on moratoriums, they're still looking for places that have no zoning.
And I've also heard that one of the strategies for these people that put the data centers in, they find a place where there's no zoning and everything's kind of loosey-goosey. They come in, acquire the land, go ahead and do the plans, and then bingo, they're building before people even know
Right,
what's
that's the
happening.
big, because there's no permitting that the county has to do. They negotiate with Duke or Haywood or whoever's gonna get their electrical, okay? Citizens of where it's gonna go know nothing about that. They negotiate with the state because the state is the one that puts MGD, water. The water belongs to the state, and so you have to go permitting through the state, but the state doesn't tell us that they're permitting that. So it's all done, permitted, they're ready to go, they bought the land, they start moving the dirt before we even know it even exists, and that's been part of the problem. And that's why they look for places with no zoning, because they don't have to get a permit from the actual land jurisdiction.
And my friend and outdoor fishing guide, who's part of a very vigorous outdoor economy, that's, one of the current concerns they have is that, a proliferation of these types of facilities could kind of impact a very important part of our economy too. So what I hear you saying, Commissioner, two things. We need to look at our ordinances and then encourage by resolution maybe or whatever, the county to also make sure that they're taking action to at least
Beyond just,
regulate.
beyond just saying our high impact ordinance will take care of it.
Yeah.
Because there is no permitting in the high impact ordinance. It simply allows them to regulate it after it is existing.
Okay.
And I think that's where our problem comes in. You have, after the fact, yours after the fact.
Let me ask Nick, first of all, are you familiar with this trend, and could you look at our ordinances and give us recommendations on how to proceed?
Oh, yes, I'm doing it all across North Carolina. Already done several moratoriums for jurisdictions while they look at their zoning ordinances, and still working on them. And yes, it's a tricky analysis because you got to be careful about 160D and the downzoning legislation. But there's ways to do it. Because if you can do things that create more uses, and put in a data center use that didn't exist, but heavily regulated, then it's not looked at as downzoning necessarily. So yes, I guess I would like some clarification. Is the board interested in pursuing a moratorium while this analysis is going on for a set period of time, or is the board just wanting to look at it and leave things alone? Because I would advise you, the reason that all these jurisdictions are doing moratoriums is because once all they need to do is just apply for anything, any type of permit at all, and then they got permit choice or they got vested rights. And so to make sure that we have the status quo, a lot of jurisdictions are doing a moratorium. But is that something that the board is interested in, or is it just looking at the regulations?
I would not to put a moratorium on it.
I think it is.
What's that?
I think it is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's
I
going
think
to
it's the
take a
first
while
step,
to
yeah.
go through the
Yeah.
To make
analysis. And
sure.
we
that-
may be covered in the end, but then you lift it and done.
Right, because if everybody else puts on a moratorium and we're the only ones left that they can come to, then they're coming.
And I will say, I'm in Charlotte here. They're putting a data center in uptown Charlotte. So just because you've got small, expensive land, that's pretty small, expensive land. So, it is not one of those things where you can just, count on the fact that you don't have prime real estate for data centers. They're going everywhere.
So
What-
how do we get a moratorium on it?
But we would direct Nick to create a proposed moratorium for Highlands and then bring it back to us at another meeting for us to take action. and
Even if it's a
review.
special meeting.
Yeah.
Does that require a public hearing, Nick?
It does, in fact, yes. And a resolution. I can go ahead and draft, typically what I've been drafting is 12-month moratoriums. Is that what, you all would like to see?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
Okay.
that's what you do in North Carolina is a 12-month moratorium.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
So
Can we
we'd
set a
like to
public hearing?
expedite as quickly as possible, frankly.
Can we set a public hearing? Yeah, I mean, seriously. Rather than
How quick
60
How long
days.
will it take you to do it, Nick?
I can have it ready for the next regular board meeting.
Could we set a public hearing now for the next board meeting?
I think I think you can do that. I don't think you need, a month. I think you could do it within, I forget what the exact, I'll have to check the statute. The statute prescribes it, but I think, you could set that notice, the public hearing for the next regular meeting.
But don't you have to have the actual moratorium ordinance 2 weeks for that, so that when you advertise it, people
Yeah.
can see what is being advertised?
Yeah, I'm saying I will have a draft ready to go in advance of that, and then you will be considering, it. You're not locked into that. You can change it, you can do whatever you want, at the public hearing when you adopt it.
Get that draft done even sooner than the next meeting.
Well-
A special meeting might be in order to approve it and set a public hearing.
Well, we have to have the draft
We have
to
to-
be able to advertise the draft.
Right, okay, so, but he said we could set a public hearing,
Yes.
but we'd have to have the draft 2 weeks prior to the public hearing, correct?
I'm gonna need to look at, I'm not positive that you actually have to have the draft in advance of the public hearing. I think you can have it at the public hearing.
So basically today we set a public hearing for a potential moratorium on data centers.
Because
the
it is
20th of
simple,
August.
it is a simple moratorium on data centers.
Correct.
There's no other,
Simple, yeah.
it's a simple decision.
So I'll make that motion to set a public hearing for the August 20th. Is that correct?
Correct.
August 20th meeting to discuss moratorium on data centers. Second.
A second. Are you good with that, Nick?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Say
Aye.
aye. Okay, good. We'll have a
And-
public hearing. And in the meantime, Nick, you'll work on that draft and get it to us as soon as possible.
Yes.
And for similar reasons, we should also encourage in whatever fashion seems most appropriate, our county to also act in some way
Right.
expeditiously.
Well, we could pass a motion,
We could pass a resolution
a
that asks them to
resolution
do that.
now, asking them to take action or to carefully review the issue of,
No, take
Yeah.
action on a moratorium.
for a moratorium.
I think you need to tell them specifically what you want.
A resolution to request a moratorium at the county level while they examine.
Yes, give them time.
Do we need the language in front of us or can we just say that?
I mean, you can't approve a resolution that you don't have.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
you can make a motion to instruct staff to work with the county on what they're doing as far as a moratorium.
Well, this would be an instance if we draft a resolution requesting their moratorium, that we have a special meeting between now and their
Their
meeting
meeting.
in August, because they meet a week and a half or a week before us. Depends on timing of the month. So that would be my request.
special meeting quick, yeah.
Yeah, we can do a special meeting. We'll call a special meeting
Specifically to look at a
specifically to
resolution.
look at a resolution to
asking
send to
for
the county.
For more.
So that they have it for their August meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So as soon as you get that, Nick, we'll call a special meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
If you want to set a meeting now, give him a time frame.
Yeah,
Let's wait for
yeah,
Nick.
we'll hear back.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Any further discussion on the data centers before I move for adjournment?
Move we adjourn.
Hearing none, movement for adjournment. All in favor?
All right,
We're adjourned. Thank you.
thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
All right.